So, NASA just dropped a plan that, honestly, sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're talking about a detailed, honest-to-goodness blueprint for colonizing the moon. But you know, the biggest story here isn't just about building a base. It's about a fundamental shift in NASA itself, how it's become more focused, more driven than we've seen in a very, very long time. Picture this. The head of NASA, Jared Isaacman, he gets up on stage and behind him is just this one single word: ignition. Now, this isn't just some clever marketing slogan. No, this is a declaration of intent. It's a signal that the old way of doing things is over, and it's a promise to aim high and this time actually hit the target. So, what's with the sudden fire? Why the big change all of a sudden? Well, the truth is, NASA is changing because it has to. There's a new great power competition heating up, and this time China is a serious rival. And the prize? It's a permanent foothold on the moon. The old, slow way of doing things, that's just not going to cut it anymore. You know, for decades, NASA was kind of stuck. They were spread so thin, trying to be everything to everyone, and frankly, not a lot got done. Billions of dollars, years of time just gone. But the new NASA, it's laser-focused. This is an agency that's playing to win, because, let's be real, in this new race, there's no prize for second place. And make no mistake, this is not just Apollo 2.0. Back in the 60s, the mission was simple. Get there, plant the flag, come home. A cosmic victory lap. This time around, the whole game has changed. It's not about leaving flags and footprints anymore. The goal is to stay. Okay, so talk is cheap, right? You need a plan, and for the first time, the Artemis program has a real, detailed, step-by-step blueprint, and it all starts with a complete redesign of the moon landing schedule, one that's all about speed and, well, actually getting it done.
And the first big change is this. Artemis 3 is no longer going to land on the moon. Yeah, you heard that right. Instead, it's being turned into a crucial dress rehearsal, but in the relative safety of low Earth orbit. The original idea of jumping from a test flight straight to a landing was just, well, it was way too risky. This new plan lets the crew meet up with the lander, test all the systems, even try on the new suits, and work out all the kinks where home is a few hours away, not a few days. And once that test is done in 2027, things really kick into high gear. Artemis 4 will be the first landing in early 2028. Then Artemis 5 will follow before that same year is over. To put that into perspective, the turnaround between Apollo 11 and Apollo 12 was just 120 days. NASA is bringing that kind of tempo back, with the goal of a new crewed landing every 6 months.
So why all the hurry? Why so many landings so fast? Well, it's all for one single purpose: to build a permanent base on the moon. And they have an actual plan to do it, a detailed 7-year, $20 billion blueprint, all broken down into 3 clear phases. First up, Phase 1, running from 2026 to 28, is all about getting there reliably and testing out the new gear. Then Phase 2, from 2029 to 2032, is the heavy lifting, building the core infrastructure. And that all leads to Phase 3, starting in 2033, which is about one thing: permanent human habitation. And Phase 1 is, well, it's incredibly ambitious. Over just 3 years, NASA's planning 25 missions, including an amazing 21 landings on the moon. But here's the kicker. Only 2 of those will actually have people on them. The vast majority of these missions are all about dropping off and testing the new technology we're going to need to actually live and work there.
And maybe the single biggest challenge they have to crack is the lunar night. For 2 solid weeks, the Artemis base will be plunged into total, absolute darkness. And during that time, temperatures plummet to a mind-boggling minus 200 degrees Celsius. That's cold enough to literally freeze equipment solid.
So how do you survive that? Well, the only real answer is nuclear power. NASA is going to use what are called radioisotope thermal generators. Basically, they use the natural heat from decaying plutonium to keep all the vital hardware from turning into a block of ice. It's a constant, reliable source of warmth when the sun disappears. And the tech they're sending up is just incredible. We're talking rocket-powered drones called Moonfall that can fly down into dangerous craters, a rover called Viper that will literally sniff out water ice, and a pair of lunar terrain vehicles, one for the crew to drive and another that can drive itself, to really expand how far we can explore. Okay, and this next part is maybe the coolest thing for all of us watching back here on Earth. NASA has officially required that every single one of these new rovers and drones will be equipped with high-def cameras to live stream what they're doing. We're all going to have a front row seat to the exploration of the moon as it happens. All right,
So once we've got a handle on the environment, we move into Phase 2. And this is where the mission really pivots from just exploring to actually building. From 2029 to 2032, the pace is just as relentless. 27 more launches, 24 more landings, and the delivery of 6 new, heavy-duty rovers.
And now we're talking about serious construction equipment. Excavators that can move lunar soil and dig trenches. We'll see a pressurized rover from JAXA and Toyota show up. It's basically an apartment on wheels you can drive around in. And the power grid gets a huge upgrade, with massive solar arrays and the very first nuclear fission reactors to generate real electricity. And all of that work, all that infrastructure, it sets the stage for the main event, Phase 3, actually living on the moon. Starting around 2033, we'll see rotating crews of 4 astronauts staying for 28 days at a time. They'll be living in a habitat made of connected modules on the surface, powered by its own nuclear generator, with about 8,000 kilos of supplies showing up every month.
But to really stay for the long haul, you can't ship everything from Earth. The astronauts will have to start living off the land, and that means harvesting resources right from the moon itself, pulling water from ice, splitting it into oxygen to breathe and fuel for rockets, and even using moon dust to 3D print cement for more permanent buildings.
Now I know what you're probably thinking. This whole plan sounds, well, it sounds almost impossible. And honestly, NASA would probably agree with you. But that's kind of the point. This was never just about building a base. There's a much bigger, much deeper objective here. So after you hear about all this massive, incredibly complex, decades-long plan, you got to ask the big question, right? What is the real reason we're doing all this? Why are we attempting something this unbelievably hard?
Because here's the thing. The ultimate goal of Artemis isn't really the moon base. It's not about the hardware or the habitats. The true purpose is to inspire the kids who are watching this unfold, the ones who will one day do things our generation can't even imagine. It's about showing an entire generation what humanity can achieve when we decide to do something truly audacious.
So you have to wonder, if this, returning to the moon, building a home on another world, is what inspires this next generation, it leaves us with one last, really exciting question. What are the incredible things the generation they inspire will go on to build next?